Do you think this is probably sounds ludicrous because you think, it's Nintendo. Come on, I grew up with Nintendo. But do you ever see a day where something like this happens and they eventually throw in the towel and say, you know what, we're just going to license the characters because that,
Commodore.
yeah,
I had a Commodore 64. One of my favorite games as a kid was Jumpman Jr. I think I think Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft. Well, I'm going to shelve Microsoft for a second. I'll get back to this. I think Sony and Nintendo are crazy not to put their games in the App Store. I think they're crazy. They're cutting off their nose to spite their face. They are stupid. And Namco gets it. They've done a poor job with Pac-Man. Pac Jump, if you haven't played that, 99 cents. Oh, you got to buy it. It's like a Poppy Jump or a Doodle Jump type a Pac-Man game. 99 cents, universal app. Great game. They get it.
But you see Namco Museum like everywhere.
Yeah, Namco has done a horrible job with the App Store. They're trying. I'll give them credit. They've done a horrible job. But why I wanted to kind of put Microsoft to the side for a second. Microsoft, I think certain departments there, because it's a big company, certain departments get it. And well, actually, let me also take that back with Sony. Certain departments get it. But the media departments, they've got Crackle now on iOS, which is kind of a media streaming app, so I can watch movies, from Sony on the iPhone, or iPod Touch, or the iPad. But I think Microsoft, from an app perspective, gets it a lot more. Even though each one of these brands has their own product, in some cases, and we've seen this with companies over and over again, you'll create something that supersedes the brand that you had already established. The clearest example I would have would be the software called Parallels. At one point in time, the company's name wasn't Parallels, but that product had established itself as such a strong brand that the company rebranded itself as Parallels because it was so strong, and that was a smart way to go because people recognize that as a virtual machine brand that they can trust.
VMware back in the day, right?
Well, no, VMware is a different company, but it's the idea of virtual machines. The software Parallels was produced by a different company. It was produced by a differently named company, and now the company is known as Parallels, or certainly that's a part of that brand. And I think Microsoft, as it's done with the Bing app, as it's now done with specifically Bing for iPad, PhotoSynth available for iPhone or iPod Touch. At least they haven't optimized it for the iPad screen. OneNote, I think, is another example. They're starting to bring some of their software experiences over to iOS, and that is a very, very, very intelligent move. Not that Microsoft is hedging their bets, but I've long said this. Windows users need Apple's software. Mac users don't need Windows or don't need Microsoft software. They don't. You don't need Office on the Mac. Number one, it's a joke. They're making incremental improvements, but a lot of Microsoft software it's irrelevant on Mac OS X. You can't say the same on Windows because, unfortunately, at this point, you need iTunes in order to synchronize your iPod Touch, your iPhone, or your iPad. And there are a lot of Windows users who have those products who don't have a Mac. So, Microsoft is I think, doing the smart thing by bringing their experiences over to iOS. And they should be doing more. They should be releasing at breakneck speed. The Bing application on the iPad does a better Bing than Bing.com. It's amazing what Microsoft has done with that application.
Do you ever see a day when competition is pretty much non-existent? I mean, is Apple going to win this thing and we have Big Brother, or where do you think we're headed?
No, I don't think so. I think these come in cycles, ups and downs. I don't know where it's going to be 5 years from now. I think it's an exercise in folly to predict that Android's going to win or that Apple's going to win. I think the decisions that these respective companies make is ultimately going to shape their success or failure in the marketplace.